There once was a young girl named Riley who had recently lost her mother. After her mother's passing, she was forced to live with her bitter, uncaring grandmother because her father had never been around. Riley often felt alone because her grandmother was away often. When Riley felt alone, she longed to visit her mother's grave, but her grandmother, a small-town resident, told her it was too far away. One day, while Riley was crying and looking out her window, a raven approached. She wasn't scared, but more upset that the bird interrupted her private moment. She hit the window, and the raven flew away. The next day, Riley was walking to school when it started to rain. She was thinking of her mother's funeral when the raven landed on the sidewalk next to her and began walking right beside her. She appreciated the company, so she reached in her bag for the chips she had brought with her. The raven appreciated the snack. They walk until they reach the schoolhouse. Riley was in the middle of her goodbye to the bird when she was interrupted by a caw and the loud flapping of the bird's wings. It was hard for her to focus on anything other than her experience with the raven. She never believed in an afterlife, so she thought the bird may have brain damage. This was the only explanation. This explained why it wasn't scared of people. Or maybe it was just a huge coincidence. Regardless of the reason, Riley had felt a feeling she hadn't felt since her mother left this world. Excitement. She was excited to get out of school for the first time in forever. She couldn't stop watching the clock. Even though Riley hadn't made any friends, school was the only place where the ghost of loneliness left her alone. The bell rang, and she was the first person out the doors. The rain let up, and the scene was set for an adventure. She ran down the sidewalk looking for her feathered friend, but he was nowhere to be found. The rain came again, and Riley was lonely again. She walked back to her empty home and fought back the tears until making it into her room. She sat at her desk, looked out her window, and began to cry. Her face was beginning to resemble the drenched window when the raven approached the window ledge. She wiped her tears and opened her window. The bird refused to come in. Instead, it flew down to the front yard and landed near the sidewalk. The raven looked at the girl and cawed, implying it would enjoy her company. Riley busted out the front door, equipped with her rain boots, backpack, and umbrella. She was ready for an adventure with the raven. She asked the bird, "Where is it you would like to go?" The bird looked at her and then passed in front of Riley to lead the way. They walked down the road until they approached the woods. Riley was usually afraid of these same woods, but with the raven's presence, she entered the trees without thinking twice. She thought the raven might want to show her where it lives. The raven directed her through the thick sticks flawlessly, and Riley was now impressed by this bird's intelligence. After about 20 minutes of walking through the woods, they approach a huge open meadow. The rain has let up at this point, and the sun is starting to shine through the clouds. Riley runs into the grass and flower-covered field and begins to roll around. She is having fun for the first time in a long time. The raven interrupts with a loud caw. Their mission is yet to be accomplished. The bird directs her across the mile-long meadow. Riley sees a gravel road that she's seen before. Could it be? They reach the road that is cut out of another portion of trees, not too far from where they just came from. Riley realizes this is the road to her mother's grave, just a 30-minute walk from her grandmother's house. In a burst of excitement, she she grabs the bird and puts it on her backpack. Luckily, the raven perches, and they begin to run down the road. When Riley approaches her mother's grave, she notices a white envelope placed on top of the tombstone. She opens the letter, and it reads, "You will never be alone in this world. I will always be right beside you." Riley and the raven began home. A feeling of relief over her. She convinced her grandmother to let her put an extra large birdhouse outside of her window.